everyone, this is JJ Outlaw.
Hi, this is T Outlaw.
And we are actually back with a new episode of the Gourmet Goober podcast. You can always get a hold of me, JJ Outlaw, on Twitter at JJ Outlaw. I'm on Instagram at Gourmet Goober. And I am here, finally, first podcast of the new year. I know we've been gone for a while. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I'm here as always with my BFF, that dude. Wait, what was your nickname again?
I went through many nicknames, but at one point during the pandemic, I was the Dark Desperado.
Are you still the Dark Desperado? Because
there's still a pandemic.
I know. We are still in the thick of it.
Even though people won't acknowledge it, there's still something going on, and there's still, people dropping. But
ooh, child, we'll talk about that too. Seriously, y'all, we are still in a pandemic. Don't let these people fool you and you go out there and get sick. Okay? Yes. Still pandemic.
Oh, yes.
But Big Daddy, where can they find you?
All right, let me reintroduce myself. You can find me, T Outlaw, TOUTLAW, on Twitter at T Outlaw and on Instagram at T Outlaw, Josie Wells.
Yes. So we are happy to be back. We know it's been a while. We've had a couple people reach out and say, "Hey, where's the Gourmet Goober podcast?" Well, the best explanation I can give is that I needed to have emergency surgery of sorts. I'm doing well now. This is something that, honestly, it was in the works for a little bit. But because COVID and everything happened and the uncertainty of, hey, we have no hospital beds in order to allow you to have surgery. And meanwhile, it was having a real definite effect on my health. Big Daddy and I, we went back and forth as far as talking about whether or not I would divulge it or things like that. I've decided to be transparent only because of the fact that I think that it would help some listeners. And actually, I was motivated to share by one Tiffany Cross. If you guys don't know who she is a wonderful journalist that works for MSNBC, Black woman, really fun to watch. She's one of those people that do not suffer fools gladly. So God help you if you're on her show and decide to want to mislead people.
She's a quite opinionated young lady. And also, I would like to take that shot now to just say, we love you, Tiffany, but we're going to talk about you and your disdain for deep dish pizza. Yeah,
okay.
I'm coming for you.
Now, actually, I wanted to ask Miss Cross on the show. Now, you just ruined that forever.
No. She wants to, hey, if girlfriend wants to come on the program, we can have the discussion.
I too was heard about the deep dish comment, but I was about to give her praise because...
You can still praise her.
Because she had disclosed that she had due to ongoing health issues, she had elected to have a hysterectomy. And because of ongoing issues, like, it left me to the point where I was, like, beyond, like, normal anemia. It was to the point where the doctor was looking at me like, how are you still breathing kind of thing. Like, how is it that you bleed every month and you're still alive? We don't get that. So without being terribly, horribly graphic, it was a life situation for me to the point where it was no longer sustainable for me to wait to have the surgery, even despite the ongoing pandemic. Sorry, as I'm talking to you, our doggy producer, Braxton, who knows me very well, he's comforting me and he's like licking my arm, giving me the woo woo woos. It's okay. That's okay. So the decision to have it was emotional, as you can imagine, for a number of reasons. Although I am fully better, but the recovery time was rather exhausting. It took a lot out of me. And I have to give credit because I had the surgery in October of last year. I'm very blessed that I had a job that I just basically, I know I haven't been on the job very long, but I'm going to be gone for like 3 or 4 months. sorry, where I recover. At least the idea was 6 weeks, but the recovery time took longer than that. In fact, I still haven't fully recovered body-wise, a section of it, but it's okay. It's just, I don't know, I'm extra, so I take extra time for everything, I guess. But also to Big Daddy, because Big Daddy, T Outlaw, he really stepped up the plate and took care of me. And I was just like, look, I can't drive for a while, and I can't be the one to take out the dog, because he's a big old dog, and I'm worried that he would just literally drag me to the pits of hell. Stairs are a problem. At one point, I had to go up a flight of stairs to do something for our home and paying our note. Or no, it was our property tax. And by the time I got up to the stairs, I literally sat down. It's the snow, and I was like, I can't do this. Seriously. Call the ambulance, come send somebody. Stairs was a problem. Groceries was a problem. Literally, there were a lot of logistics and just normal living, sitting up and just moving, that I had to do. And Big Daddy, to his amazing credit, he stepped up to play. He's like, look, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but we're going to do it together. And you've done an amazing job. So I can't thank you enough for that. Plus, I know it's really hard for you, because we've known each other since we were, 18, 19 years old?
Yes.
We're way older than that now. Way, way, way older. We've known each other for 30 years or so?
Thank you for aging me. Let's put it this way. I'm on the precipice of my 20-year high school reunion.
We're past that.
No, I'm not.
Okay. A year older than I am, so.
Nonetheless.
Anyway, what I'm trying to say is, it was an unexpected journey, and then it took a toll on me emotionally, because obviously making the decision to have that means the end of a chapter in my life, and dealing with that. So we wrestled whether or not to jump in right away and re-record, and that was actually our journey. In fact, at some point we tried to, and then I was in such pain. You were just like, no, we can't do this.
We had to focus on your health and getting you better. And that meant there were going to be some things I had to suffer for a little bit.
Right. And I it was never my intention to be as gone as we were, because we generally love recording the podcast. And even when I was in bed in the hospital, I was texting you things like, this is for the podcast. And you'd be like, stop it.
Yeah. I was like,
get
focus
some
on your
rest.
Health. Take them pills. Walk around.
Yes. The hospital staff could not be nicer. Although I did have
a run-in with a certain doctor's staff. Well,
they were rather slow in filling out the paperwork. No, I was joking about the waking up at, what was it, 5 a.m.? Would you like a suppository? No, I wouldn't. No, that was not a real question.
It's not rhetorical.
It was not a rhetorical question. It was, no, you're going to have one. Oh, well, why did you ask me? Because honestly, I'd just rather go around and go to bed. I mean, I want none of it. So there were some comical moments in my recovery. And dealing with emotionally, ending the opportunity, having family and things like that. But
no, I want to talk about the doctor's staff where, you literally almost got out of bed one day, and you were ready, hospital gown and all, ready to, go to the office and, start cutting folks.
Okay, there was the only issue, and what he's alluding to, was sadly there was a real issue where I had some paperwork to be filled out in order to qualify for FMLA while I was out, right? And
they were messing with your check.
They were really, like, it took them 3 weeks in order to fill out the paperwork.
Right now, it's still not resolved. We're talking glacial.
To the point where, well, it's finally resolved now, but I had to leave some unpleasant voicemails.
Do you have a check?
Okay. No, because at that point, I'm waiting for Lincoln Financial.
Then they're still, in arrears.
But I did get some check, but not everything that was due me. But the point I'm trying to make is, one, we were very grateful that because of planning and because the truth of the matter is, and I'm sure you've seen the statistics, listeners, that a lot of families are like one missing paycheck away from like losing everything.
Yeah.
And a lot of families do not have enough in savings and investments and things in order to cover for said emergency. And I'm very lucky that because, over a course of one's working life, there are times where, I've been laid off, I've been let go. And when those unfortunate experiences happen, there's one nonprofit that I work with that literally was wiped out because of the pandemic, because you can't give tours if, no one's traveling, and during lockdowns. And in each of those situations, I've learned from that you got to have extra streams of money coming in. So I was able to cover that, so we didn't miss a beat, which is nice.
Yeah, I was trying to make sure there wasn't a tin cup and a monkey involved, or me having to, work the streets.
No, I did not send you on the pole.
No, I was talking about, hey.
No, at one point, Big Daddy's like, okay, all right, so we're still waiting for this paperwork to be sent in from the doctor's office. You have called multiple times. I mean, what am I have to do in order to cover it? Do we have enough? Do I need to work the poll? And I was laughing like, should I tell them to work the poll simply because I want to see what that looks like? Nah, I don't want to invite that. You
don't want me in a G-string.
No, who wants that? So what I'm trying to say is, I'm fine, and I've taken the time off to not only repair, physically, but I had to do some self-care emotionally too, to kind of acknowledge and deal with that loss and acknowledge and deal what that looks like.
Yeah, we also need to talk about the fact that during your recovery, and your we'll say your preservation, as you will, like, your get back.
Right.
And you had to focus on yourself. All of a sudden, you became extra girly.
Yeah. That is strange, though.
Yes.
Like, I have nails now. Which, by the way, just as a side note, I don't know what to do with them. I'm, like, scratching myself all the time. Because I was, like, a notorious nail biter. And then I had the surgery. And I realized that even though my nails are usually very weak, not to, like, bore you guys, but now it's like I'm Wolverine and have anti-nails. I'm like, well, damn. Is this what all the fuss is? So Big Daddy was laughing because I'm like, well, they're here. I might as well paint them. You're like, what the hell is that on your hands? Nail polish. I have known you for 30 years. You've never worn nail polish. I'm wearing nail polish now. What do you think?
No.
You're so confused. You're like, really?
No. My issue is that
Sephora delivers, and I had a lot of time on my hands.
Yeah, she had some time on her hands. That being said, what the Gourmet Goober is throwing me off with is the fact that, yes, while she was recovering, like, she started working on, a new skincare routine. She, worked on her hair,
I'm blonde now.
Different makeup, highlights. I don't want her mother to freak out.
My mother doesn't listen to the show.
She has ways of getting information. Nonetheless.
I've been blonde for months and she doesn't know.
Somehow she'll find out now. But anyway.
Hey, also, I look good blonde though, right? All right. Sorry.
Yes.
You were saying.
Yes, you do look good with blonde highlights and parts. Yes, but the thing that has intrigued me so much is that the Gourmet Goober has decided, for from time to time to remind me that, this nail growing thing is foreign to her in that, having nails at a certain length, past her, like, fingers is new. So I'm like, okay, so you haven't been following, like, Cardi B or, I don't know, Meg, whatever's. But she keeps complaining about scratching herself and how to, like, work a keyboard and this and that. And I'm like, I'm a guy. Now, granted, I have healthy nails, but you're going to have to ask somebody else this. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, it was weird. It was just like, how do people, like, do things with nails? I honestly don't know the answer to that.
So, ladies, she might need a little assist. Yeah,
because, like, last night, I must have dreamt something, because I scratched my face. And this morning, I was like, where the hell did that... Oh, I must have scratched my face when I was asleep.
So you went all Freddy Krueger on yourself at night?
Yeah.
Okay.
Typing's the worst, because I'm old school, and I learned how to type on a typewriter. So you're supposed to have your wrists up a certain way, because if your wrists are down, like most people do when they type with nails, if you do that, you hit the space bar for the old typewriters. And so now typing with my tips up is rather hard. I don't know how people do that. So if you have any suggestions for me, please let me know. But more importantly, I just took time off. Yeah, I, got caught up on a couple graphic novels. I started watching The Night Manager, which, by the way, ladies, if you're a Tom Hiddleston fan, Loki, great show.
Oh, Lord.
Cannot recommend it enough. I was very lucky that I have an incredible therapist that I was able to talk to and just kind of work out how I've been feeling and, dealing with the loss, because it's a very real sense of loss. And Tiffany touched upon it too. In her case, it was saying goodbye to a child she could envision, because she's single, but because I'm married, dealing with my emotions and my husband's emotions and things like that was completely different. But I'm glad that I took the time away, although I'm sorry that I wasn't with everyone. But I'm back, and we are back, and we're so excited to, start the year new. We've got some great ideas for some episodes. But yeah, I just wanted to acknowledge right off the bat, especially for those of you who've been loyally listening to for a while and just kind of wondering, like, what the heck? Well, that's what happened. So I just want to say thank you for your patience, and thank you for giving me the space and grace during this first segment to just really kind of delve in. Again, thank you to Big Daddy and everybody who has been incredibly helpful throughout this process. It's been really, really good. And I, for one, am super excited.
Cool.
And this is normally the segment where we talk about how both of our time was. So I know I jumped in on the part of the segment that's normally yours, because we usually start off with you. So if there's anything you want to share that's not related to the end all be all of, oh my God, I need this surgery and I can't walk more than 2 feet.
No, it was a pleasure to work with you and to be able to live with you, because I was thinking that it was going to be Armageddon when this surgery occurred. And I had to fully prepare myself, because I realized that, you kind of think how your environment is and dealing with you only know what your parents have gone through, or like, your friends or whatever. And I didn't know what to expect. And the biggest thing was for what I could do, I was limited, but I had to work with what I had. And I was afraid that I wasn't going to be enough to get her through with that. I wasn't going to be able to be her champion. And I wasn't going to be, I'd ended up not being her champion, but at least I came off the bench and I did the best I could. Now, granted, we had some pretty crappy dinners throughout that process, but at the same time, as the Gourmet Goober, she had to lower her expectations a few times. And
No. I honestly think you did a great job. I think if nothing else, this has taught us how much we rely on each other.
yes.
Because, especially for me, and let me just take a step back, because I realized that I didn't share that the reason why I had the surgery was because it's something that a lot of Black women deal with. Well, a lot of women in general, but it's definitely more prevalent in the Black community, the issues with fibroids. And I know for me, the fibroids were like scary big. And so,
That's right. Gross everybody out. What are fibroids?
well, no, fibroids are like tumors that are non-cancerous that often grow inside your body. And so mine were like scary, horribly large. That's all I can say. But like going back to you, and what you were saying, you need to give yourself credit because your ability to improvise and just say, hey, look, this is what we need to do was really great. And I learned so much from watching you and how you dealt with it, because I think sometimes in long-term relationships, it's so easy for you to fall back into roles and you don't really realize what the other person does for you until that other person's not around. And I know that there's a moment, I don't know if you're comfortable with me sharing, where it was after the surgery and it took me a long time to wake up from like the medication they gave me.
Oh, the anesthesia.
Yeah. And then at one point you had to go and I told you I didn't want you to leave. And you said that was like the first time that you saw me like
in the most vulnerable state. And this is also this lady, like a few years ago, went through some health issues that landed her in the hospital. And, even then, I think that was one of the few times I saw her vulnerable, but not like this. And, it broke my heart. It crushed. But ultimately, I had to keep the house going and, had to take care of the family and the pets and whatnot and handle things. But yeah, it was a very vulnerable night. And I just had to, I think I was just more blessed that she came out of surgery healthy, because you just don't know, when somebody goes under, what can happen. And I was blessed to have her back in some form or fashion. And after seeing what came out of her, it was a lot. It was a very emotional day, but the biggest thing was that she was there, she was present, and she was very weak. But the biggest thing was that she was with us, she was good, and we just had to start the process of recovery.
Right. So it wasn't all like doom and gloom during the holiday and the breaks. Obviously, since we last talked to you, like everything from like Halloween to, which is sad because we were both home, although I was recovering and we weren't able to do Halloween this year. So that also means for long-term listeners, there were no opportunities to give away the really crappy candy that we normally do every year. We didn't do that.
She didn't let me bring the candy up in the house. I'm like, there's going to be some kids. I was like, just in case there's some kids coming, let's get some candy. No, there ain't no kids coming. Damn.
And what that means for those of you who are new listeners to the Gourmet Goober podcast. So what we have done in the past, which is hilarious, is we wanted to give out candy for Halloween, but we wanted to give out candy that neither one of us would eat if there's a ton left over. So...
Or, also with the pandemic, if we couldn't get rid of the candy, that we couldn't, splotch it off on, like, coworkers, at that office.
Right. And that's a good point, because you worked in an office. Neither one of us had been in an office in, like, forever. Like, we've been working from home. I don't even remember the last time I've been in an office. And I know for you, it's been going on almost 3 years, right?
2 years.
2 years. And... so we have a robust office set up at home that we just do. And it's a matter of
There's a hole in the wall. Yeah. There's no robust office. There's a hole in the wall. We just have space.
There's not a hole in the wall. Don't listen to him.
Anyway.
But the whole thing is, what happens is, over at Family Dollar, and I shouldn't divulge this, but I'm gonna. We've got a Family Dollar.
We're about to get our house egged.
And there is a bag of candy that they usually sell, and you know it because there are no main brand candy in the bag. And some of the candy is not even in English, so there's pictures of fruit on it that the candy is supposed to taste like. But after 2 chews, and we've timed it, the candy loses its flavor. Straight
up and down, this is what I've termed. I think it's just piñata candy that they threw in.
Yeah, I think that's what it is, piñata candy.
Yeah, spiller.
So what happened is, I would usually get a bag of this candy, and it's usually cheap, right? So you can give a lot of it out, but then eventually you'll wind up with a pumpkin full of candy, like one of those plastic pumpkins. And so after staying there for a few days, Big Daddy would smuggle the candy into the office, and your officers usually bring your Halloween candy here. And undoubtedly, every other candy would be eaten except for that candy. And then he had to be all shady with it so that people didn't know they came from us.
They know now.
They know now if they're listening. So this year we did not give away the crappy candy, in case you're wondering. We did celebrate Christmas, though.
We celebrate Thanksgiving with, what did we have for Thanksgiving?
Oh, yeah, for Thanksgiving, because I told him, look, I'm not cooking a Thanksgiving dinner. I can't move.
Yeah, we're very non-traditional.
And so Big Daddy's like, well, you don't want me cooking a turkey. So what we did was we went through Goldbelly.
Yes.
And we ordered from a place in New York City. Shout out to this place. It's called Miss Lily's. It is a Jamaican food restaurant. So we had jerk chicken and goat curry and banana pudding that we fought over. And Jamaican rice and peas. We had that for dinner. And it was fabulous.
And I'm still alive.
I cannot recommend them enough. So, in fact, we talked about doing it again for next year. We're just fuck it. Why are we cooking? Because it's just the two of us, and we're not married to the turkey. Nothing happened because we didn't eat turkey and dressing for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, everybody else in our family lost their minds. Wait a minute, there's no turkey or ham or dressing or what? No.
Nah, we had jerk chicken.
We had jerk chicken.
And we loved every bit of it.
Yes. And then we got to Christmas, and then we went non-traditional again.
What did we do for Christmas?
We whipped out, I got a picture of me with them big two-honking tomahawks.
Yes. We decided to have tomahawk steaks for Christmas. It was fabulous. So the surgery actually turned out to be a blessing in disguise, because I'm never making Thanksgiving dinner again. If you have the means and the luxury to do it, why not? It was worth it.
Okay, first of all, I'd like to say to our listeners that we're not balling like that.
No, we are not balling like that. Maybe I should put a caveat. We are not balling like that. Please sponsor us.
Yeah. We saved up a little money, when we did get them checks, and
Yeah, we were able to cover, so we're fine. The lights never went off and everything. That said, buy a t-shirt. We need to refill those proffers.
Yeah, because, the doggy producer, got his food, but he might have been hitting that gravy train for a minute.
Yeah, his food is expensive. So, please support us.
Yes. But yeah, we had tomahawk steaks for dinner Christmas Day.
What else did we do? Oh, yeah, you know what? Big Daddy decorated for the holidays, and he got me the world's coolest present for the tree. He got me.
I was thinking she was going to talk about the fact that I got her a record player.
Yeah, I'm excited about the record player. The record player is awesome.
Yeah.
And hopefully you liked your gift too, right?
Yes, I did. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, very much so. The Goober blessed me with a book on old school hip hop. This is way, way, way back in the day, and I like to give a shout out to Questlove. This is a very visual illustration, with old photos from from way, way, way. We're talking about from the infancy of hip hop.
Like from the very beginning.
Yes.
And I recommend the book. It's called Contact High. And it's like a big coffee table book. And they have some of these hip hop legends like Nas and Rakim and
Biz, Dougie Fresh,
Queen Latifah.
Yeah.
And their infancy, like just when they're getting started, we don't know how they were able to put this together, but it's really just, if you like old school hip hop like we do, it's like a love note to it. And then along with that, it's the little Run DMC.
Oh, like figures.
Yeah. Little people, the little people thing that we used to play with where when I was a kid, literally it was like these little round heads. There was like a guy, a man, a woman, and a dog, right? Well, now they've evolved, so now you can get little people and like Run DMC, they partner with little people to come up with an adult collector's version of them. And it's so cool. It looks like they're actually at a recording studio, right?
Yes.
So I got him one of those as well. We're still figuring out where to put it. But
she won't let me open the open the box.
No, here's the thing. I told him he could open it and he could play with it. But that thing also sold out 5 times on Amazon. 5. I've been stalking this since July to give it to him. And finally it just came in. And I'm like, look, dude, if you lose one, I don't know when I can get you a replacement. So just know that.
Yeah.
But Big Daddy, oh my gosh. So anyone who listens to the show knows I'm obsessed with Marvel. I love Marvel so much.
She's a Marvel blurred.
And so one of my favorite shows that came out last year was The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And I don't want to ruin it for all of you people who haven't seen it yet, but the ending of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, something very cool happens to the Falcon, and Big Daddy got me an ornament in the new uniform that the Falcon wears. And I'm just so jazzed. And it wasn't just that. He got me a little Loki. Which is hilarious because he hates he's very upset that I find Tom Hiddleston attractive.
He's many things, but pretty man he is not.
He's adorable.
He is ugly as all get out.
He's saying that because I find him cute.
Yes.
So anyway, I guess if you buy the ornament from Hallmark, they will give you like a little ornament for free. And you're like, okay, I'll take it. And if all the characters that they could have given you, they gave you a miniature Loki. Now, I didn't put it on the tree because I have a feeling that Big Daddy would have fed it to the dog. So little Loki now is on my keychain.
I wasn't going to feed it to the dog. I was just going to let the cats play with it.
Right.
And things might have happened. It might have ended up in the litter box somewhere.
Anyway, Big Daddy actually joined me in watching Hawkeye, which I wasn't going to originally watch because, it's Hawkeye? He's like the least Avenger. Like, dude, he just shoots people with a bow and arrow. That's kind of ridiculous. But the show was really good. I do recommend it. And it was the first MCU show that you watched from beginning to end, right?
Yes.
So there was that.
She had to bring me in kicking and screaming, and I wasn't, I wasn't sure whether I would be into, because, the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the Marvel, programs are very intricate with all the different nuggets, and, I didn't want to get in the middle of her blurred experience, but it was at least the most relatable one to me.
Yes. Big Daddy has an affinity with Hawkeye. I think it's because he's an everyman and he doesn't have superpowers, and he's over shit.
Yeah.
He's you.
Yeah, he's just things that we learned is that Hawkeye for me he's a good guy. He's an Avenger, but at the same time he's a grumpy dude. He just wants to go home to his family and do his thing.
Yeah, you gotta respect that.
Yes.
So yeah, that's why Hawkeye appeals to you. He's here.
Yeah.
So I guess what I'm trying to say, it wasn't all just doom and gloom. We did find moments of joy as I was recovering and doing some self-care and we both were dealing with emotionally the transition of what we're going through right now. Of course, there was Elmo's cookie. That also gave you joy.
Ah, yes. I forgot about Elmo and the cookie.
He's obsessed with Elmo's cookie now.
No, just Elmo's reaction to the cookie.
Okay, it's not just... Okay, you guys have probably seen this, right? Where there is a clip that has gone viral. I actually think the clip is like an older clip of Sesame Street.
Yeah.
Where Elmo has a friend that also looks like Elmo. It's a little monster named Zoe. And so Elmo is doing Elmo stuff. Like, he's palling around with Zoe and everything. Zoe has this pet rock named Rocko.
Mm-hmm.
And she's insisting that the Rocko talks. You know, Zoe's like a little sis. So if you ever have like a little sibling, you've never experienced this because you are the baby of your family. But as the older person, the oldest person in my family, sibling-wise, I get it. Because undoubtedly your sibling will say something just crazy ass about a toy or whatever, and you're old enough to be like, dude, that doll said nothing fucking to you. Elmo doesn't swear, but in his facial expressions, you can tell he's way over Rocko. And it culminates in this situation, and I encourage you to Google it if you haven't already seen it. But Rocko is hanging out with... I'm sorry, Elmo's hanging out with Rocko and Zoe, and there's 3 cookies sitting on a table. And Rocko is talking to a human friend, and Rocko notices that Rocko asks, oh my god.
Zoe.
No, Elmo. Rocko can't talk. That's the whole thing. So Elmo notices that Rocko, and sitting in front of him, is an oatmeal raisin cookie. And Elmo's like, dude, can I have an oatmeal raisin cookie instead of the cookie in front of me? That's like my favorite. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry, Elmo, we're out of cookies. And Elmo's like, that's cool. I can just switch with Rocko. He won't know. And Zoe's like, no, you can't take this. This is Rocco's cookie. And then
Elmo's like,
loses his ever-loving shit.
He just looks at him like, I don't know if you quite know this. I know you're like in your own little, like, you know, playtime here, but you do know that Rocko is a rock.
Right? He doesn't have a mouth. How is he going to eat the cookie? And he literally has, if you ever see the viral, like, where Kanye's going off on Sway,
yes.
like out Sway, his reaction is like that. He's like, how's he going to eat the cookie, Zoe? He doesn't have a mouth.
Yeah. And everybody's just kind of playing along with her. And we're like, once again, this is a rock. You do understand this is a rock without a mouth, without eyes. It can't even see that I'm taking the cookie. It's a rock. And Elmo's like, you know, because you think about all the different, you know, aside from like Oscar the Grouch, like all the different, like, you know, Pollyanna, like, you know, like, Sesame Street characters. Where they're all like, you know, like all like, you know, playing with letters and numbers and whatever. And all of a sudden, like, Elmo just kind of gets real. He's like, yes. Okay, listen, I don't think you quite understand. There's a cookie right here. I want that cookie. There's enough cookies, but you're putting it in front of a rock who can't eat it. The cookie's going to go waste, but I just want a cookie. You can't have the cookie. Why can't I have a cookie? Because Rocko wants the cookie. Rocko is a rock. Rocko doesn't care about the cookie.
It's just the way that if you look at the clip, and it's almost like he breaks the fourth wall, and Elmo is just done with it.
Yes.
Elmo's like, fuck this shit. I know I'm supposed to be really, like, cheerful. I can't do that because of this rock.
Yes.
And there's a number of clips, and you can just tell that Elmo's over it, and I'm just like, you know what? At this point in the pandemic, we are all Elmo. We are all that damn puppet.
No. Rocko was just there. Elmo's like, okay, I have reached that point. It was like almost like Elmo almost like reached the like Karen stage of, I need you to go speak to my manager. Can I speak to your manager?
Not Karen.
He was like, excuse me, hold on. To the producers of Sesame Street, you do know I want that cookie. You ain't never let me have that cookie. I know I'm a puppet, but I want that cookie. I deserve that cookie. I've been on this show for X amount of years. Somebody about to give me that cookie. About to go out Denzel and be like, I'm the real King Kong up in there. I want that cookie.
So, as you can tell,
we're all Elmo.
We're all Elmo at this point. So, in the midst of everything, Elmo's been giving Big Daddy, as you can tell, much joy.
Yeah.
So, I tell you what, this is probably a good time to take a break. Because I think our kitty is calling us. He's very loud, as you may be able to hear. So, when we come back, we will go into our pop culture segment, What's Eating Us, and the return of our best thing we ate this week. So, you're listening to the Gourmet Goober podcast. We will be right back in a moment. Hey guys, I'm JJ Outlaw, better known as the Gourmet Goober, and I'm here to share this great new recipe journal from author Gaby Loreno. It's a progressive cooking journal designed for short and simple recipes at the beginning, before advancing with spaces for longer recipes as you go. It's colorful, fun, fits easily in the kitchen drawer, and it's perfect for any home cook. Best of all, it has over 100 pages for your most beloved culinary delights. Be sure to get your copy today at Amazon.com. Hey everyone, this is JJ Outlaw.
And T Outlaw.
And we're the co-hosts of the Gourmet Goober podcast. Hey, let me ask you something. Have you ever wanted to make a podcast of your very own? Well, Spotify has a platform that lets you make one super easy and distribute it everywhere and even earn money. It's an all-in-one place solution, and it's for free. Get that. It's called Spotify for Podcasters, and here's how it works. Spotify for Podcasters lets you record and edit podcasts right from your phone or your computer, so that way, no matter what your setup is, you can start creating today. And get this, you can distribute your podcasts to Spotify and everywhere else that podcasts are heard, right? You can even make video podcasts right on Spotify as well. With Spotify for Podcasters, you can earn money in a variety of ways, including ads and podcast subscription. And best of all, did I tell you guys it's free? Right? Because it's free and there's no catch. Let me tell you something. Ever since I discovered Spotify for Podcasters, I've been loving this platform, okay? It makes creating and producing the Gourmet Goober podcast so easy to do. And it makes it so easy as well to distribute the show through all the platforms. And you guys know you can hear the Gourmet Goober podcast everywhere. So I highly recommend it you give this a try. Do me a favor, download the Spotify for Podcasters app or go to www.spotify.com/podcasters to get started today. Thank you for listening to the Gourmet Goober podcast. Now back to the show. Hey everyone, this is JJ Outlaw.
And this is T Outlaw.
And we are back with part 2 of the Gourmet Goober podcast. This is the section that we talk about pop culture and the stories that intrigue us, that really get us going, that get us talking, that we call What's Eating Us. And speaking of What's Eating Us, you know, Big Daddy and I, we just saw that incredible documentary. We hope that you saw it too. Simply titled Janet Jackson. It was a 2-night documentary. It appeared, last night on Friday, the 27th, and then tonight?
Yes.
What's last night, the 27th? I'm sorry.
Friday and Saturday night. I believe it was January 27th and 28th.
Sorry. This has been a crazy week, you guys.
If it is not, then, please forgive us. We're old.
Yes. Well, it's a 2-night documentary. It aired on both A&E and Lifetime. It was too big for just one network. Hopefully you had a chance to catch it. We are still marinating in our thoughts. So even though it's probably one of the biggest things that happened in pop culture, at least as far as we're concerned within the past week, we're not ready to talk about it just yet.
Yeah, it's too soon.
Yes.
I have opinions.
You have opinions, right?
Yeah, and it's gonna take me the length of a podcast to go over them. So I'm gonna take a few minutes and cool off.
You know what? We should do like a special episode dedicated to just breaking that down.
You don't want that smoke.
No, we've been talking about it for a while, like having like a bonus episode, because one of the things we're looking to do this year, it's like for our fans, maybe setting up some special like episodes for like Patreon and people who support us.
Okay.
That would be a really good episode, because we had some very vivid conversations about one Mr. Jermaine Dupree.
Yeah, I'm still in the doghouse on that one. But we'll get to that.
Yes, exactly. So next episode, you guys get to hear our thoughts. But in the meantime, we do have 3 stories that focus, as we always do, on the intersection of food and pop culture. And this week, we are starting off with a story that actually got us talking for a very unusual reason. Butter.
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 Like on a butter roll.
Exactly. Now, I know what you're thinking, right? Like, what's the big deal about butter, right?
Yes.
But much like Jermaine Dupree, and much like the other things that stuck out in the 90s via the East Coast and the West Coast beef that is out there, apparently that lives on in Dairyland. And we were not aware, and
I was in shock. Just literally like shocked my socks off.
Well, I'm not sure if we're going to go down that road. I mean, it wasn't like, oh my gosh, I'm going to tear off my shirt and run down the street screaming.
Yeah, it's like having an illegitimate kid. You just find out that just happened to come looking for, child support. Not that has happened.
Should we talk about this?
No, we're going to keep moving. I know nothing. I did nothing.
So apparently this was due to an article that recently posted over this weekend by the Huffington Post. And it goes over the fact that, believe it or not, depending on what side of the country you reside on, you have a different butter experience. Which is weird, right? Because butter's butter, right?
Yes.
So this all happened because, according to the Huffington Post, on January 22nd, there is this company called Panic Inc. and his co-founder by the name of Cable Sasser, he tweeted an ad for a smarter butter dish that promises to unite both, quote, the West and East Coast butter. And it shows how 2 differently shaped sticks to represent each. And so his response was kind of like me when I read it. I was like, what? So apparently, here's the thing. Believe it or not, there are 2 different kinds. Okay, butter's made the same, right? So it's
Yes.
not like that is different.
Except plant butter.
Well, plant butter is margarine, people. Okay? We've gone over this in a previous episode. I don't know why they're selling it any different. It's margarine.
That's how they make money off of people, off of dupes.
It's kind of like bone broth is that stock that your grandmother made, but they put the word bone on it. And so now it's like worth a lot more money. Plant butter is margarine.
Got it. Oh, yeah.
But anyway, here's the thing. So apparently butter on the East Coast is shaped differently than butter on the West Coast. So butter on the East Coast tends to be sold in long and narrow sticks, while butter on the West Coast is usually shorter and wider, to the point where it's often called stubbies.
Stubbies.
Now, apparently this is nothing new, that people have found out about this for a while. In fact, one of my favorite shows on NPR, which I highly recommend anyone listening to, is called Marketplace.
Okay.
One of the reasons why I love it is that Marketplace actually explains financial phenomenon and breaks down how things that happen in the stock market really affects everyday people. And they do it in a way that doesn't insult you, it doesn't talk down to your audience, but it really makes it easy for everyone to understand. So I'm not getting paid by NPR. Marketplace is not sponsoring the show. I just like the marketplace. Okay. So apparently they did a segment in 2014 that broke this down, and it's actually was part of the show. So the way it breaks down is there used to be a company back in 1907 that produced butter, and it was primarily on the East Coast, or for the East Coast, and it was known as the Elgin Butter Company. And it's based out of Elgin, Illinois, which we've actually been to.
Yes.
So the Elgin Butter Company manufactured butter using a butter press, and it was one of the first companies that actually standardized the shape and size that most people, I guess, in our area are familiar today. You know, the long, skinny sticks.
Right.
So what happened was, over time, the eastern time of the United States used to dominate the dairy industry. In fact, I know that for most of us, at least, you know, born and raised in the Midwest, Wisconsin is the place that we usually think of as far as the center of the dairy market here. But it actually used to be in Elgin.
I'm actually very impressed by that. I did not know that.
Yes.
That's some weird, wild stuff. I'm intrigued.
So this happened for a long time. And then on the West Coast, its counterparts, they decided to ramp up production in order, you know, like we've seen the commercial with like California cows and things like that. So they started doing that in the 1960s. But they decided they didn't want to use the Elgin machines that everyone else just used. So basically, the new machines manufacture butter in a different way. So to this day, the difference persists. And there have been people who have been transferred themselves, you know, like if you move cross country or something. And we're very shocked to see that there is a different way that butter looks.
Yes. Which is just astounding to me. Like, all of a sudden you go someplace and they're like, what's up with this butter? This butter is just, I'm used to, like, you know, as you know, the measuring.
Right.
You know, as you measure in the teaspoons and whatever, you know, like the little markings on the package.
Right.
So, like, on the West Coast, which I've never been, like, west of Las Vegas, the butter is just, since it's short and flat, do they, like, have different measuring standards?
Actually, that's interesting you say that. Because no matter what the shape and what style you buy, you are still getting the standard 8 tablespoons of butter per stick.
Okay.
It's just that, just to make sure you're measuring the correct amount, it may break down differently depending on how it is.
So it's just the shape is different, not so much like the amount of butter that you're getting.
Right. So you're not getting robbed as far as the amount of butter, just the shape.
Okay.
Now, as you can imagine, this could actually cause some problems if, say, for instance, you live on the West Coast, you move to New York, and now the shape of the butter sticks doesn't fit your, like, butter storage containers and things like that, right?
You know what? I never thought about that. So if you have a storage container or like a little butter plate,
right?
Do you have to get a different butter plate?
Well, actually, that's where this comes in with the guy who retweeted the ad and was, like, shocked. The guy from Panic Inc.
Okay.
So, there are a company that's out there that manufactures, I'm sorry, I can't talk right now.
To manufacture.
Yes, they manufacture something that's called a better butter dish.
Better than butter.
A better butter dish. And it's designed that no matter what size butter you use, you know, whether your butter is more aligned with POC,
Wow.
or if it's a biggie butter, no matter where it fits, you can use the same butter dish. Bringing them together, much like Snoop did.
You went a long way for that.
Yes, I did.
Which is intriguing.
In honor of what we watched tonight, Janet in the 90s and all of that.
Yes. Which is intriguing to me because if you think about the Biggie Pac thing, you know, it's kind of thrown like in reverse because you look at Biggie, then you look at Pac.
You would think that Biggie's the stubby, right?
You would think.
No, it is not. Now, in case you're wondering, like, where do I sit on the butter battle? Shout out to Dr. Seuss. No worries, because there is a link that's on Amazon, believe it or not, that helpfully, according to this company, breaks down where everything sits. So it's in yellow and gray. And if you're in the gray area, you buy the original butter keep and slice. But if you live in yellow, you buy the West Coast version.
So this is like pimping your butter.
Yes, it's like pimping your butter. I would not have put it that way, but yes.
Okay. I get it now. This little bit, they're like, okay, we're going to take your butter, and then we're going to throw some 10-inch speakers on these bad boys.
It's like pimp your butter.
That's right. We're going to flatten it out, and the exhibit's going to come in
I can
and
see
say your butter's unpimpable.
That's funny. Zip is like, yo, man, I'm going to pimp your butter.
Mm-hmm.
That's really strange and disturbing and oddly funny.
Your butter's going to have 10-inch, 25-inch, monitors in the back of the package.
Wait a minute. What would make a butter unpimpable, though?
I don't know. I guess
if it's plant butter.
That's right.
Damn it, it's margarine. It's unpimpable. I'm sorry.
That's right. Don't bring no fake butter to this place.
If it's not, I can't believe it's not butter. I can't help you.
That's right. I'm a big fan now.
So anyway, we want to be educational here in the Gourmet Goober podcast. So there you know. So show some love to your West Coast homies and just know that they are feeling your butter pain.
They feel your butter pain.
Yes.
I like that. That is so sweet.
So moving on from that very odd story. And I don't know why. We just loved it so much we had to share it. One thing that is universal, no matter what side of the coast you're on, and that is fast food, mainly McDonald's. McDonald's has been around forever. It's kind of been that ubiquitous place that no matter where you go, as long as you see the golden arches as opposed to
the golden arch.
You know that a Big Mac is a Big Mac. Now, wherever you go without the country, East Coast or West Coast, all the same.
That's right. They have the Big Mac.
We have the Big Mick.
We have the Big Mick.
They have 2 all-beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, and...
I forgot.
No! How could you forget? You've seen that movie so many times. Remember they have Thousand Island dressing.
Oh, that's right. They have special sauce. We just have
Thousand Island dressing. Which is what the special sauce really is. Shh.
Come on now. We don't want to get sued now.
That's right.
We don't want to talk to the McDonald's people, but...
We actually want their sponsorship, so we're going to move on.
Cool. We're loving it.
So anyway, McDonald's decided to get a little creative, and actually beginning on January 31st, if you go into any McDonald's area across the country, you may notice that there are some tweaks to the menu. Mainly, they have decided to share what's known as menu hacks. These are 4 different items that you can get from a McDonald's. And I actually learned about the menu hack from theroot.com. And they did bring up a very interesting point that we'll go on in just a minute. So it's for a limited time only. The 4 menu hacks were suggested by fans. The hacks are available and you can only get it if you order in person in the restaurants or if you go directly on the McDonald's app. So if you're like people who are like busy in an office or super busy on the go and you order on DoorDash, nope, you can't do this. You actually have to order it either in person or on the app. But
yes, the Rona. I'm like, you can't always just order in person.
Well, that's where you have the McDonald's app then.
Okay.
But if you order from like a delivery service, which makes sense because I know a lot of times restaurants are trying to move away from the delivery service because it eats into their profits. So this is probably a fun way in their mind to incentivize skipping DoorDash and going directly to their app.
Which is cute and all, but I guess the question I have before we go into this is that if you're doing this in person, isn't the DoorDasher doing it for you anyway? So he's there, he or she is there in person.
Yes, but keep in mind that anytime you order it, they don't, a lot of the profits that they normally would get if you went directly to them would actually go to DoorDash. That's why, for example, you may have seen the commercial recently that Domino's, as part of her promotion, they went and I think it was like $100,000 worth of like gift cards from other competitors or other restaurants. And the reason being is they wanted to encourage people to go to them directly because, as we all know, the Rona took a huge hit out of in-person dining. Unless you live in one of these horrible states. Okay, maybe I don't want to go there. But unless you live in a place that doesn't really believe that the Rona exists and there are no rules and people just go to eat as normal. If that's you and you're a listener, do you. As for the rest of us, a lot of restaurants, out of an abundance of caution, have decided to either limit their indoor restaurants or, unfortunately, with the rise of the Omicron variant, they have made some noticeable changes. And we all know that people, as a result, have been ordering more to get delivered to them.
Okay.
So this is kind of like a way to bypass all of that and keep more of the money in-house. But here's the thing that I find fascinating. The way it works for these items is that you get the ingredients when you place or order it, but you don't get it put together. You have to assemble it yourself because, as the Golden Arches say, that's half the fun. So your choices in terms of their menu hacks are what's known as the hash brown McMuffin. That's when you take a sausage McMuffin with egg, one hash brown, and you put it together in a sandwich. There is also one that is called a crunchy double. A 6-piece McDonald's McNuggets and barbecue sauce plus a double cheeseburger equals the crunchy double. Maybe you're interested in what's known as a surf and turf. One Filet-O-Fish, one double cheeseburger put together for one sandwich. So basically, they stack them on top of each other, remove one of the top bun for one of the sandwiches, and you basically eat it if though it's a Big Mac with, a Filet-O-Fish fillet in the middle. Or, as I find intriguingly enough, you can combine a Big Mac, a McChicken, and a Filet-O-Fish, put it all together for a land, air, and sea. It's also served with a hot and spicy McChicken sandwich at select restaurants. So I got a couple questions.
Okay.
One, I find it intriguing that it's a menu hack, but you basically buy all the materials and you put it together yourself.
Okay, so what you're saying is that McDonald's doesn't actually put this together.
No.
They're basically just telling you something that they found out and say, okay, we're going to market it as such, like something brand new, but really the customer's doing all the work anyway.
Right, exactly. So basically, if you were just going to buy the burger itself, it's a way to convince you to get the McNuggets with the burger and combine them.
That's so lazy.
I know. Two, I'm kind of confused by the air part of the land, air, and sea, because chickens don't fly. So how is that air?
If you really look at McDonald's chicken, sometimes I wonder, did that chicken really fly at one point? Because we don't always know that it's 100% chicken.
Shh! We want their menu. We want their sponsorship.
Never mind.
Of course they flew together.
Cluck, cluck.
Of course it's all chicken. Shh.
Sure.
But more interesting enough, the Roots pointed out something that's very, very, that was very, very apparent to me as I was reading this.
Okay.
That is, the McDonald's new menu hack wasn't new to black folks. We've been putting stuff together like this for a long time.
Yeah, because if you think about it, which one was the one with like the nuggets and the double cheeseburger?
That would be known as the crunchy double.
Yeah, that's usually what I order when I go to McDonald's anyway. So it's not like the only thing I didn't do was put them together in one little buffet here.
So basically, they should have been paying you for this so-called hack,
as opposed to the Cornell Hayes Jr. meal. They can go to the TO meal. Matter of fact, I want my ducats. Pay me what you owe.
So, I agree with the Root. I think it's hilarious because it seems like this menu hack thing has been Columbus. And the fact remains that people have been doing this for a long time. I remember seeing this in the early days of Reddit where they were talking about these menu hacks. So basically, they took something that's been floating around the internet forever. Not to mention the fact it's something that your Uncle Junebug does whenever he goes to the club and has a late night and can't get into the Waffle House.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
and they decided to pay for it. Make you pay for it.
I'm a big fan.
Uncle Junebug should sue. Let alone, not just you.
Yeah, because he had this idea, and he should have copyrighted it, while he was busy falling out of the club. But no. We had to keep it on low, and now, someone snitched to the powers that be. So now they're basically, Kardashian in this.
Oh, ouch.
I'm sorry, appropriating and making it their own. We're going to make it, a big thing. But we're not going to do the work. Now, that's Kardashian-like.
You know what? Honestly, I think it's low-key brilliant. Because if you think about how many different types of hacks that are just uniform out there, it's almost like, everyone who goes to Wendy who've tried the French fry and the Frosty, and they dip the French fry in the Frosty. And it's kind of like a way of monetizing it, so they're like a meal of just the Frosty and the French fry.
Which is amazing to me, because I did not know this was a thing until, a year or two ago?
Yeah, that is true. I did introduce you to that.
Yeah, I was
shocked. I'm like, everyone dips the French fry in the Frosty, but you.
I came from a small Midwestern town. Same as Janet and the rest of the Jacksons.
I too came from a small Midwestern town, and I knew about the Frosty.
Your town was a little bigger than mine.
Just a little.
Okay.
So what other hacks do you think that they could do? I personally think the hack, you know what, I'm almost reluctant to talk about it, because undoubtedly there'll be some listener who, hears what we're about to say, and Columbus it. It'll be the next hack at, Popeyes.
Yeah, if I find, whatever hacks that we come up with, if I find it, on the chew or chopped or something, I'm coming with you.
We know it's you. We know who it's coming from.
We know we know what you did last summer, and we will find you. We're
trying to monetize this show, okay? So
that's right.
Don't take our possible new sandwich from us.
Yeah.
Although, to be honest, the hack that you love the most isn't really from you. It's actually from Bronzeville. So the south side of Chicago is coming for you.
Near south.
What was the hack? Okay, it's brilliant. I'm going to let you explain it, because I love this idea.
Okay, if I remember right, a couple years ago, well before the Rona, there was a place, I hope it's still around, called Philly's Finest. Okay, so what the guys on the south side do is that they go and they hit up, Philly's Finest or any, really good, reputable cheesesteak place. As a matter of fact, some people were able to take, one of the low-key, Chicago, magnificent things that you can find is if you get a good roast beef sandwich, they do that and they try to make it into a Philly. But what happens is you take a Philly cheesesteak, Philly cheesesteak, and then you find a good Popeye's chicken. And here's what you gotta do.
Now, it's not just any Popeye's chicken. It has to be a chicken breast, right?
It's gotta be a chicken breast. It could be a thigh, but you gotta do some extra ripping. So what you do is you go get a 2-piece or something, and you gotta get it extra crispy. Extra crispy. You can't just go in there and just get the original. And most importantly, if they're about to close, don't get that chicken. Because they're going to tell you that they closed. Just forget it. Make sure you get it while it's hot, fresh, and crunchy. Extra crispy. Take that breast or that thigh or whatever. You take it, you rip it apart, and then you slide it in the middle of your cheesesteak. And then you start going on and on with it. Some people use Cheese Whiz, but most importantly, the biggest thing is getting extra crispy Popeye's chicken. Not from the chicken sandwich, from the chicken breast. And then you put that together with your cheesesteak, throw some cheese on top, call it even. You got you a sandwich. Best hack I heard in a while. Bomb. Right there. But if you Columbus it, I will find you. And I have a certain set of skills. Yeah, don't take my kindness for weakness.
It could be hard to explain to my parents while I'm bailing you out of jail because someone stole your sandwich.
You stole a sandwich from Bronzeville. Bronzeville don't play that. And you can't just be going up in a Lincoln Park or I don't know, like an Andersonville Popeyes. You gotta find a good reputable Popeyes that cooks their chicken an extra minute, extra crunchy. I'm sorry, extra crispy, my bad. But yeah, always get a good Philly cheesesteak, or once again, taking a roast beef sandwich, and then trying to make it into a Philly.
Now see, your hack is serious business. My favorite hack is not that serious.
Okay.
And a lot of people know it. It's when you go to Five Guys, you can get a double grilled cheeseburger. And what it is you get burger patties.
Okay.
That is sandwiched between two of their grilled cheese sandwiches. You know what it is? It's like when you go to... There's a place in Northwest Indiana that's called Shoop's.
Okay, gotcha.
It's like the Mickey, where you have the 2 slices of cheese. Yeah, it's kind of like a double Mickey. With
yes.
Five Guys.
Ah.
See?
Okay. Light bulb going off. Mind blown. Okay.
So it's like a double Mickey with Five Guys.
Okay. All right. I see what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay. I can deal with that. But it's not explosive is what I got. I like it.
No.
I like it though.
To be honest, I think a lot of people know about my hack. Your hack is a little bit more revolutionary in my opinion. Because when you told me the bulb went off, oh my God. Although to be serious, I'm not even sure how that would work as far as monetizing it. Because what that would actually do, no restaurant could do it. Because that means that Popeyes would either have to do their own version of the Philly cheesesteak, or they would advertise you going to get someone else's cheesesteak, then going to get their whatever. So the two restaurants have to be in sync. However, it could be something that someone could put on TikTok and decide to come up with as their own. So again, do not steal that idea.
No, because I will find you. Mariah and I will hunt you down.
Who?
I think it was from a Mariah Carey song. Sorry, I'm loopy.
You're looping at Mariah Carey. Somewhere she's like, what? I don't know him.
Yes. Who's that? Not you.
Okay, I think we're slap happy at this point. You want to go over the last thing, which I think is actually quite genius.
And that would be?
Well, that would be the thing that you shared with me recently about another fast food chain, which is dealing with a very real problem that's going on nowadays. As we all know, with the pandemic, as people are returning back to work, it's causing them to reevaluate what's important. And particularly the fast food industry has been really hard hit by people leaving the industry. Now, most likely, that's because of the fact that, as we both know, unfortunately, a lot of times the jobs don't pay as high as they should. And as a result, due to, low wages combined with difficulty in finding childcare and things like that, a lot of people have decided it's more important for them to find something that's sustainable, especially after coming out of something that's devastating as a pandemic, than returning to work with these low-paying jobs. And so a lot of companies now have been trying to find a way to entice individuals to come and work for them.
Got it.
So one of the restaurants that are really trying to figure out how to do this is Taco Bell. And so what Taco Bell has decided to do is actually something that's a little unusual. They are actually opening, I believe in February, they're partnering with the University of Louisville to actually develop their own business school for employees. And the idea is, according to a recent article in Entrepreneur Magazine, is that they want to have higher level employees that will learn the skills and eventually enable them to operate a future franchise of their own. So the fast food chain will teach employees working in those positions on a number of things, ranging anywhere from financing, marketing, and even human resources.
Got it.
The first class will actually commence in February 2022, and then they will hopefully be able to support these individuals. So if they want to move and own their own Taco Bell, they can. So it seems like a very interesting value-added ability to entice people to come and work for them. And this is not new. So if you may recall, Starbucks, they also have something similar, where if you work with Starbucks, they will pay for your tuition.
Yes.
But this is actually something a little unique, where this is something that they're running themselves, as opposed to someone doing that. But
so it's not like a Burger U.
Well, it kind of is, in a way.
Okay.
But it's something that I'm hoping that the skills will transfer over. Yeah, actually, it is pretty close to what that is. But as opposed to going individually through, like, Burger U is like, the McDonald's in a corporate office around here in Chicago, is actually something that my understanding is it's going to be more universal, tied with the University of Louisville.
You would think that, the University of Louisville will bring this idea to, like, KFC or something first.
Why KFC?
Kentucky.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I guess Taco Bell was quick on the ball. So what do you think about this?
Wait a minute.
Do you think...
Now that I think about it, isn't KFC and Taco Bell associated?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Mind blown.
Yeah,
right.
so maybe they do that.
Never mind.
That's true, because sometimes they have those combo restaurants.
Yes.
That weird thing that you can get, like a, chicken, those weird chicken bowls with, like, a burrito. Which never made sense to me, but yeah. If you wanted all your carbs and fat in one place, that's the place to go.
And maybe, just maybe, you'll find all 11 herbs and spices. Now, granted, some of it might be, like, borrowed, from the Taco Bell side of the menu. But somehow, you get your 11 herbs.
We're not saying which 11 herbs and spices you're going to get. Only that 11 herbs and spices will be there, undoubtedly.
And then if you eat them both, you'll get that 12th, herb and spices, which is flatulence.
Okay, we're going to leave that alone. But what do you think of this as an idea to help sustain their workforce? I think it's genius.
I think it is. I think it's very, and the fact that you're dealing with a very reputable university is large also. And the fact, because if one of the things I know about, Louisville University, or the University of Louisville, I'm sorry, is that, they have a very good business school.
Yeah, they do, actually.
This is definitely not like Trump U.
Oh, no, it is not. One thing that I am a little disturbed about that I didn't see was I wanted to know what the benefits of them are outside of taking these courses. So, for example, it might be a good idea that if you successfully complete these courses, maybe having a way leading them to help fund getting their own franchise. Because owning your own franchise is not a cheap thing.
No, it is not.
There's a substantial amount of startup costs and, being able to get bonded in order to get the kind of funding and building and all of that good stuff. Whether you take over a new franchise place or just one that's existing. So it would be interesting to see as this program progress if they actually put the forethought to see, you know, how to help them fund as opposed to just educating them on what to do. Because otherwise, I would imagine that it would be easy for them to take these skills, which would clearly be transferable, and go to another place and say, hey, I completed this training, and see if another restaurant chain would be willing to help pay for their franchise. Because I think McDonald's does that now with, like, minority franchise owners, don't they?
Yes.
Yeah, so not to give Taco Bell any unsolicited advice, but it might be a wise idea for you guys to do that.
No, I very much agree. And I would really believe that through their programs, one of the things that they would want to do is be able to also teach the some of the applicant students, as you will, the ability to talk to lending institutions to be able to finance and or be able to find opportunities to, like, maybe apply for and or, like, obtain loans and grants.
Okay, well, that could definitely be a factor. Yeah, you're absolutely right there. Do you think this is something that other restaurants should adopt? I think so. I think it would...
Okay, I'll give it... Yes, I'll be willing to say yes. I'm agreeing.
With one exception.
What exception would that be?
I'm not sure if they should do that for Arby's.
Why not Arby's?
Well, first of all...
Okay, Jon Stewart, what you got for us?
No, we talked about this the other day. We were... Sorry. I was thinking about the other day when we were driving back from the grocery store and it was going to be a while for dinner's ready.
Okay, come on, Giggles, give it to me.
Stop it. I'm trying not to giggle. But no, we had that conversation about where we wanted to eat.
Yes.
And we actually passed the Taco Bell. And you're just like, oh, what about... And I've already drove past it. And we came apart at Arby's. And let me just say, the street we're on, there are several fast food restaurants. And all of them were filled as far as the drive-thrus, with one exception. And that was the Arby's. And we were joking about how Arby's is like the place you go when, okay, we have no other choices.
Yes.
Like, no one willingly goes to an Arby's and say, yes, I'll have that. Usually the Arby's is just like, well, all right, well, we'll do Arby's because, you know, the Wendy's is too busy.
Yeah. You basically end up at Arby's like if you just happen to go to the McDonald's and the McDonald's is around lunchtime and they're full. You go to the Burger King and the service is crappy. You go to the Wendy's and, like, you know, the drive-thru is, like, you know, out the door and down the street.
Which happens all the time where you're at.
Yeah. You know, you just happen to pass, like, a random KFC and, like, things went funky. And you just end up at an Arby's.
And I know you guys are listening and going, oh my gosh, that is really cruel. But I want you to really think back. When is the last time, dear listener, that you really wanted to go to an Arby's? Really? I've never met anyone, and I'm not alone. In fact, one of my favorite podcasts of all time, it's a really funny show. I recommend listening to it as well. They're only on Spotify, by the way, so if you're not on Spotify, you're missing out on it. But they're called the Black Guy Who Tips podcast, and Rod and Karen talk about this all the time, and it is true. It's one of the things where you kind of laugh at it for a minute, and then you're like, you know, you don't go out of your way for an Arby's. So, going back to us talking about the business school, I'm not really sure the Arby's model of business right now, where it's just like, oh, well, guess what happened? It's really the way to market yourself. So I don't think it'll work very well for them. But any other restaurant, I would highly recommend this business school.
I don't know. Arby's is like the try-hard school. Like, if you look at their menus, like, in different places, it's like, you know, you basically used to go there for, like, roast beef sandwiches or, you know, what do you call it? The bacon and cheese. Back in the day, my parents used to just go there for the roast beef sandwiches. Now it's like, you know, they'll throw anything together. It's almost like going to a Greek restaurant. You just walk in there and be like, do you make Pastrami sandwiches? Yeah, we make pastrami sandwiches.
But here's the thing. They make a ton of stuff and none of it's good. Because, like, remember that one time...
It doesn't have to be good. It just has to be there.
Exactly. And therein lies the problem. That is not a sustainable business model. Now, apparently, somehow they do stay in business. Because didn't they buy BW3s?
Did they?
I thought so.
Man, what happened to BW3s then? They lost that WEC and then they just went...
I don't know.
I'm still working on... Okay, once again, for all you, like, young folk. Okay, so...
I'm sorry, BW3s is Buffalo Wild Wings.
Thank you. Buffalo Wild Wings. When we were going to college, it was BW3s. And why? Because we knew it was Buffalo Wild Wings and WEC. And we kept asking, what the hell was the WEC?
And they made a big deal. And WEC, by the way, is bread. And I was always confused. And remember, I was in college, and they finally told us, and we were driving home, and I was like, no one goes to a restaurant for bread. And years later, they dropped the bread.
Yeah.
Well, Panera is literally in its name. But, like, if you had your choice of going to a restaurant for buffalo wings or WEC, you're not going to say, damn it, skip those buffalo wings. I want the WEC. You're not going to do that.
Yeah, that's true. You're not going any place for a WEC.
Exactly. So there you go.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of WECs in effect.
Although I think WEC was a burn that there was like sandwiches that were made with WEC.
Did anybody ever go to BW3's, or I'm sorry, Buffalo Wild Wings for the sandwiches? Okay, that's all I need to know. But yeah, I like to give Arby's, a medal for at least trying hard. But in terms of reasons to go there.
Oh, excuse me.
Sorry, you basically went there because it just happened to be on the way and you just happened to stumble into it. If you had a car crash in front of Arby's, that'd probably be the most available way you end up there.
You're so mean. I would say that. So clearly Arby's is not going to be a sponsor either. So apparently I think we've actually subtracted people who could...
And you would think I was like, you would think I'd be down with it because they say, we have the meats. Damn it, prove it. Like, do you you have the meats? My question is, do you have the good meats? You just have meats. And, hey, what kind of meat you got? We got meats. What kind of meat? We got meat.
They didn't clarify what meat. They just said they have meats.
They have meat. You have chicken? Yeah, we got that. Do you have beef? Yes, we got that too. Do you have fish? Hold on.
Yeah,
I think we got that too. They'll be like, do you have shrimp? Hold on, let me get back to you. All right, I think we might have shrimp. Yeah, Arby's tries hard. We'll give them that.
So now that we've insulted Arby's, congratulations to Taco Bell for this brilliant idea. And we'll be watching to see how successful it can be.
Damn it, yo quiero Taco Bell. I said that wrong, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
I am so sorry.
Okay, so now that we are very slap happy, is there anything else we wanted to talk about, or should we just take a quick break and close out as we always do, sharing the best thing we ate since our break?
I got nothing, because I could go back and talk about Justin Timberlake. Once again,
No, we're going to let that marinate.
Yeah, we're going to let that marinate.
Marinate is the word of the day.
Opinions. Yeah.
Big Daddy was rather upset when he watched part of the podcast. We agree with the Council of Black Twitter and saying that we don't forgive certain people who will go unnamed.
No.
So there we go.
No. See, look, I got my over. Yeah, I got my over. Matter of fact, it's gonna be like butter. I can't deal with Irish butter. Irish butter is good, but there's just certain types of Irish butter you can't deal with.
And on that note, we're gonna take a break, and when we return, we will talk about the best thing that we ate this week. So we are listening. You are listening to the Gourmet Goober podcast.
I still hope you're listening.
We hope so. Unless you're Arby's, then we know you're not. We're listening to the Gourmet Goober podcast, and we will be right back.
Hi, I'm Carrie.
And I'm Emily.
And we're the hosts of A Dark Cup of History, a spin-off series to our regular podcast, A Nice Cup of History, where we dive headfirst into the weird and paranormal aspects of the world we all live in.
If you want to know your woman in red from your woman in white, or precautions to take against demonic dolls, and just where to go to find Black Shuck on a moonlit night, why not give us a listen?
Together we talk about the dark, creepy, and downright terrifying parts of our history and folklore, as well as what you should do if you ever encounter any of them.
Interested? Come and find us on Buzzsprout, Apple iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Pandora, iHeartRadio, and pretty much anywhere else you'll get your podcasts.
So turn on the lights, grab a blanket and some rock salt,
and let's get dark.
Hey everyone, this is JJ Outlaw.
And T Outlaw.
And we are back with the Gourmet Goober podcast with one of our famous, not yet, but you know what? I'm not even going to say that's a mistake. I'm going to say that is like, what do they call it now? Manifesting. We're speaking to the universe. So
you're speaking to the universe now?
Yes.
She's going all cosmic.
So this segment will be famous one day, but it's our favorite segment where we share the best thing we ate this week.
It's about to become infamous in a minute.
We are not going to share what we were talking about off mic. It's late here. Big Daddy and I sometimes talk to each other in our pre-production meetings about, hey, we got to get into a good space to sound great on the podcast. And I inadvertently told him to go to his happy space.
And my happy space involved cold revenge.
And I was not prepared for that. My happy space was, I'm, something benign, like dinner with Tom Hiddleston, because I'm watching The Night Manager now. I think I may have mentioned it earlier, and I'm a huge Loki fan, and gotta say, that sounds like it'd be pleasant. Meanwhile, Big Daddy's thinking of just... Let's just say he's not a Justin Timberlake fan.
See, I wasn't going to say anything until the next podcast. So.
We'll go into more detail in the next podcast.
There we go.
Needless to say, some of us are still in our feelings after the whole, what happened after the Super Bowl. We'll talk about that more later.
Yeah, maybe we'll serve it up after the Super Bowl.
We'd like to keep that away from our new listeners. So anyway, if you are new, the best thing we ate this week's segment is a part of the show where we share the restaurants, the recipes, be it the hole in the wall, the franchises, the unique spaces that served up some incredible grub. As always, we put that information down in our notes. So that way, if you're in the area, then you can partake of your own. Because we're based in the Chicagoland area, I always preface it by saying that, yes, a lot of the places that we're going to are local to us because of the fact that we are still in the Rona. That said, as always, we want to do this because, as you probably know, restaurants have been incredibly hard hit after the pandemic struck. And so many of them are facing challenges, be it, lack of staffing, lack of funding, issues related to necessary close downs or lockdowns that communities may have to go to. And so many of these restaurants have had to shift and be pretty nimble to survive. Here at the Gourmet Goober, we started off as a food blog, so we wanted to offer our support to those restaurants. So I also wanted to say that if there is a local area eatery near you, or a recipe that has been in your family for just forever that you just love to get your grub on and want to share, please, please, please help us by sharing these locations with us. You can email us at thegourmetgoober@gmail.com. Again, that is thegourmetgoober@gmail.com. And we will read your information and share the restaurant on the show. And as an added bonus, you may get a little Chotsky from us to you, from the Gourmet Goober team. So I don't know, you may be deemed, gumbo worthy by one of our fans. What What did we send them? Did we send them a mug?
I ain't giving them shit.
No, you want to thank our viewers? We want to thank our listeners.
Thank you.
We will send you something fabulous, okay? You have to forgive Big Daddy. He is still in that space.
I don't know what space you're referring to. I'm just telling the truth at this point. I'm like that old man who just finally just say, you know what? The truth is just going to set me free.
We will send you something great. But speaking of that is a good point. In case you didn't already know, folks, we have mugs, we have aprons, we have good stuff.
We got good swag.
We have really good swag. So you can go to gooberswag.com. That's gooberswag.com because, we got it like that. And you can help us out by helping to grow the show by getting your own Goober gear. This year we have some pretty big plans, including what's hopefully going to be a really incredible trip that we're going to be taking sometime later. That's all I'm saying. That hopefully that we can record while we're out and about, and we'll be sharing, and there'll be lots of good grub. So you can help grow the show, and the money will not only help grow the show, but through our distributor called Plum Good Media. This is a year of quote Plum Good Giving, where we will, as always, share some of our proceeds to the show to support nonprofits and organizations that, have already been hit hard by the pandemic. We can show them some love. So not only will you help us get the lights on, which is incredibly important because we work from home and we're always home.
It's hard to do it. Yeah, it's hard to do an episode in the dark.
Yes, that would kind of suck. Wi-Fi is important. But you'll look really good with it with the Goober swag. And you'll help us support a lot of good industries and nonprofits that we really believe in as well. So everybody wins. Ding! Yes, I did do that.
Yes, you did.
Okay, I've talked enough. So this segment is all about sharing the good grub and sharing with others. So Big Daddy, as always, we start with you. Oh, I'm sorry. Dark Desperado.
That's right, because it still is a pandemic.
We're still in the pandemic. So, what was the best thing you ate this? Well, I guess we've been out for longer than 2 weeks, so just humor us. So, one of the best things we ate while we were on break.
Okay. Me personally, one of the best things I ate, best way I can explain it to you is like this. What the Goober was saying a little earlier was true. That during this time, during the pandemic, during the time in which restaurants are laboring and efforting to get, good grub to people, whether it be in-house or whatnot, we know mostly, basically what we can get our hands on. And the biggest part is that during this time, during the internet says, the Twitter, the social media, is that during Omarion, or Omicron, or Omicrons...
Poor Omarion. He's just like, damn it, someone else is confusing my name with that.
Exactly. The dirty at the GG here is that a lot of what we've been getting is either we made it or it's been delivered. So a lot of what you're going to get is regional favorites, at least until we, come across a restaurant that we feel safe in or a movie theater that we're cool with. But to get back to what I ate, the best thing I ate this week was from a random place called Trendsetters. My wife, Gigi, basically hooked us up one day. I think it was like a midweek with a quick little takeout dinner from a place called Trendsetters. And one of the random things they had was some lechon, which, as far as I remember, was like, as you know, pork. And it was like sauteed, simmered, very slowly cooked pork, kind of like a pork roast. It was like good simmering, like Filipino Puerto Rican pork.
Yeah, it was a Puerto Rican pork roast, actually.
Yeah. And it was one of those things where you knew it was good when it was delivered to you. It took maybe about 25 minutes, half hour to get here. But it was still nice and warm when it got to my hands. And, when I opened the container. And one of the best things I like about it was, when you open the container and you get that good smell. And it's like, it's not overpowering. It's seasoned. Because one of the things, Dark Desperado here has to know is that it's got to have a good seasoning on it. But not too much seasoning. You can't just, randomly, you can't live on the salt, the pepper, the garlic, the onion. You got to give it a good mixture. And one of the things I like is that it was seasoned, but not too seasoned. It was warm, but not like, it wasn't going to be like damn hot. But the thing was that it was, you could tell it was loved. What's that?
It was succulent.
It was succulent.
It was very, very juicy and delicious.
It was very delicious. And then Goober that day was, kept looking over my shoulders like, so you still got a little bit of that pork left, right?
Yeah, I was about to say the reason why I know it was juicy and delicious is I got their steak bowl, which is really good. But I really told him to come up off that LaShawn so I could have some.
Yeah, I kept seeing
I had no shame. Literally, I knocked on the door. We're here in your office working. I was like, hey, about that pork.
So the thing that we learned was that the Goober has a nose.
I have no shame.
No shame. And she came in with a fork at one point.
Yeah, I did, actually.
So.
Look. If you've been in a long-term marriage like us, okay, because this year we're going to be celebrating, 17 years together?
That is correct.
So in 17 years, there comes to be community food, okay?
There's a difference between community fried and community pork.
Today, it was... Look, wait. We're going to talk about that. Because we've talked about this on the show where there's a phenomenon that exists in many places that is known as community fries, okay? That's when you go through a drive-thru and there's fries in the bag. And undoubtedly one person's driving, one person's holding the bag with all the food in it. And generally speaking, not all the fries make it in the bag. I contend the fries at the bottom of the bag are community fries, but Big Daddy's family took it one step bigger because they know that people naturally hit those fries. So they just get automatically like an extra order of fries whenever they go through the drive-thru. And that's what we eat on the drive home. Because not all the fries are going to make it, right? And even like what you said, community fries.
Yes.
That's what they are. I tend to say that in a long-term marriage like ours, there tends to be community food. And I know that you're just not agreeing with that. You're just like, I thought we were going to stick with the fries. Until I reminded you that yesterday's fries is not today's fries.
Thank you, Fat Joe.
I'm laughing because that statement by Fat Joe can also be applied to many things, like getting our dog up. When our dog does not want, our dog is a lazy bone and he knows he has to go to the bathroom in the morning, but he doesn't want to get off his comfy couch where he's sleeping. And so instead of fighting to put the harness on him, I lure him off the couch with a fry, or not a fry, a pepperoni stick. So
random treat. Yes,
a random treat. Usually pepperoni. That's who we should get to sponsor us, pepperoni.
Damn well, because somebody's got to pay, these random dog treats that end up in his throat.
Yeah, but plus he's our doggy producer. So anyway, I that's when I educated Big Daddy about yesterday's price not being today's price.
Is that how we're bragging? I'm sorry, that how we're paying them now?
Well, yeah, because Big Daddy was like, you used to be able to get him off the couch to go outside without bribing him. And I'm like, well, the price went up for that.
For the entire length of the time that he has been our pet, we've had to bribe him with random things. It used to just be like, if you would offer the same, I don't know, if you offer any treat, to...
Or a squeaky toy.
Or a squeaky toy to, like, one of our cats, which is the other pets, he would become jealous and then show up.
And then he realized, like, oh no, that's just y'all trying to get me out of bed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not falling for that again. So that's when I started treating him with actual treats for him. So there you go, people. Yesterday's price is not today's price.
Yeah, so we have to keep up in the ante.
Going back to what you're saying, with that in mind, your LaShawn was so good, it then became not your dinner, but our dinner. It was community pork.
Yeah, you have been, like, sitting in your office, doing your work with your food, emphasis, your food that was chosen for you, or you chose, and then randomly, like, your wife shows up, pork.
With a fork.
Your dog shows up. Pets, like, knocking at the door. I'm like, damn, I guess either the food is good or I need to learn what community is.
Sharing is caring, love.
Okay.
Sharing is caring.
Woohoo.
So if you wanted to get your own helping of LaShawn, which was helpfully served with not only the pork, but it also had this incredible helping of what they call Puerto Rican fries, which is the fries and the pigeon peas.
Yes.
It was amazing. I would recommend this place, hands down. All of their food is good, but their LaShawn especially. Trendsetters Bar and Grill is actually in Gary, Indiana.
GI.
So we will have the links to it, as always, at the bottom of our show notes. Now, for me, my best thing that I ate this week was something from Portage, Indiana, and it's called Another Round Bar and Grill. They also came to us from delivery because it was like hella snowy that day, and I just had a particular bad day at work, and I just basically told Big Daddy that I'm not even looking at the kitchen, don't ask me. So that's when he's like, okay, let me just helpfully hand you the DoorDash app and walk away. And what we were able to get was they have pizza, they have a lot of good pub food, but the thing you want to get, talk about hacks, let me tell y'all, they have something that's called the Nacho Mama steak sandwich.
The Nacho Mama steak sandwich?
Look, I didn't name it. It's the Nacho Mama steak sandwich. And I'm telling everyone within earshot, if you're near Portage, Indiana, and you want a really good steak sandwich, get your life in order, one. It is so incredibly good. I mean, it's, you know, first of all, their sandwiches were pretty substantial, right? Because you got a sandwich too, right?
I did, but it was unremarkable. Like, I don't remember it very well, but it was pretty good.
Yeah, well, this one, I have to say, let me do it this way. Let me explain it this way. For those of you guys who listen, you know that I'm obsessed with a sandwich called a Bobby, right? You get it from Capriotti's. It's so good. It's like a Thanksgiving on a bun, or as I like to call it, a warm hug on a bun.
Yeah, it makes you feel like, what was the cartoon dog you liked?
Snuffles.
Yes. Had the Snuffles feel to it.
You know, where he hugs himself and he jumps up and then he lands down after having a treat. Capriotti's is that for me. And that's not even the best thing I ate this week. It was the sandwich that I got from another round.
The slap your mama steak sandwich.
That's what I called it. When I bit into it, I was like, oh my God, this is the slap your mama steak sandwich. It's incredibly well seasoned steak, cooked to perfection. I like my steak sandwich, my steak, a medium well. So, a medium rare. So that's what medium. Sorry. It's late. A medium. And that's what they had it. They had, onions and peppers and all that good stuff. It's like a Philly steak, but I'm one of those people who believes, okay, I believe the world is divided into two Philly steak cheese eaters. Okay. There's the people out there who loves a good traditional Philly, right? And their good traditional Philly has the the provolone, just
The provolone or the Swiss, yeah.
or the Swiss or the mozzarella, depending on who makes it, right?
Yeah, it's like a Pat's versus Geno's type discussion.
Exactly. I, on the other hand, believe that what makes a good steak sandwich is the whiz, as in Cheese Whiz, man. It has to have that liquid gold on top of the steak that just takes it over the edge. And it is hard to get a good Philly cheesesteak made with the whiz, as I'd like to call it, here in the Midwest. But then there is the nacho shake sandwich, which is kissed by the sun above and whoever made it. Because, yes, it does have nacho cheese. So it's cheese with a little bit of oomph on it. But people, this is not the nacho cheese that you get at like the stadiums that tastes like golden wax. No, this was real handmade cheese. You can taste the stink on it that only a good hard cheddar has. And it was just seasoned and just had the right amount of heat. So it wasn't overpowering. It didn't have it didn't have, you would think, well, maybe it has jalapenos in it. No, I don't know what they put in it in order to give it that right amount of bite to it and that sting from the heat, but they did it. And I'm telling you, this sandwich is the truth. The truth, people. The truth. So.
Like truth with an F.
Truth, exactly. So, if you're in Portage, Indiana, and you're looking around, looking to get your hands on a really good steak sandwich, go to Another Round in Portage and tell them the Goober sent you. Because I'm telling you, you will get your life.
The Goober's just trying to score us up another free sandwich.
Hey, I paid for that sandwich before. I did not get that for free.
Okay. So, well, she's trying to get the hookup one way or another.
It's that good, let me tell you. That said, I also had the capriotti sandwich while we were on break because I found out that we can now finally have it delivered to us. And I did weep a little bit when I bite into it.
She did have a snuffles moment.
I did. It's so good, I only allow myself one a year, which sucks now that I realize I ate it again a year so I can have another.
Which is really just a one every 4 month type discussion.
No, I really only... Okay, because the sandwich itself, it has stuffing, it has cranberry sauce, it has slow roasted turkey. I mean, I'm talking the good turkey, not like turkey that you get from a deli. I'm talking carved turkey. And it even has mayo in it, and I hate mayo. But the sandwich is perfect with the mayo. I never change it.
Okay.
It's like hella carby and hella fat and hella not healthy for you, and I love it. So anyway, you know that Another Round's Nacho Mama steak sandwich is good when I chose that as opposed to my beloved Bobby from Capriotti's. It's good. That's all I have to say. Bobby.
Damn it. Somewhere Bobby is not happy about this.
You're just sad because you missed your chance to do your Whitney Houston impersonation. Same, Bobby.
Just saying, Bobby. Bobby.
Okay.
I tried.
So before we scare them, because the mic is right here. Big Daddy, where on social media can they find you?
Well, you can find me. That would be me, T Outlaw. That dude, the Dark Desperado. You can find me on Twitter at T Outlaw. That would be TOUTLAW. Once again, spelling. And on Instagram at T Outlaw Josie Wells.
You can find me, JJ Outlaw, aka the Gourmet Goober, on Twitter at JJ Outlaw. Been there forever. That's where you'll most find me because we're also on the Facebook at Gourmet Goober Blog, but I'll be honest, I hate Facebook, so want to hit me up on the Twitters. Also, I'm on Instagram at Gourmet Goober. That's at Gourmet Goober, all one word. So for Big Daddy and for myself, first of all, thank you guys so much for waiting for us and being so patient and joining us on the journey. Thank you for staying with us as I explain why we took our break and being so understanding. It feels so good to be back behind a Mac. The mic.
Come on, microphone check, microphone checker.
And for Big Daddy and myself, we want to say thank you for listening to another episode of the Gourmet Goober. We'll be back in 2 weeks. And until then, happy eating.
Yep.